Hello, my friends. Laurie Ashcraft here. I'm your host for Viva La Evolution, sponsored by Recovery and Resilience Solutions, which is a training and consulting branch of Crestwood Behavioral Health. And today, we have a really good episode for you, talking about an amazing program that's part of Crestwood Behavioral Health, part of but separate from Crestwood Behavioral Health. Crestwood started this program 20-some years ago to create a bridge toward employment for people who they saw in their programs. And we have Regina Kaiser with us, who's been with this program for 20-some years. So she goes way back, knows all the history, knows where all the potholes are, how to avoid them. So she's going to be joining us. And an amazing woman named Donna, who is a graduate of the Dreamcatchers program and now is, of course, full-time employed herself. And I'm also going to tell you a little bit about another person that graduated from the Dreamcatchers program. So instead of me babbling on here, let's get on with Regina and learn about the Dreamcatchers program. Well, here we are, folks, with Regina Kaiser, who's the executive director of Dreamcatchers, which is an amazing program that's part of the Crestwood Behavioral Health System. Freestanding, but part of. Regina, I think you're a nonprofit arm of Crestwood, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, right. So I'm just so happy you could join us today. I love the Dreamcatchers program. I just think I hate to say this in front of Crestwood, but I think it's one of the most brilliant programs Crestwood has. And it's been around for a while, hasn't it?
It has. We have been around now for 24 years.
Wow. You know, I remember, I just am blown away that it was 24 years ago, but I remember when it first started, and what's his name? EJ?
EJ, yes.
EJ invited me to a meeting they were having, and they gave me a t-shirt. They all had these black t-shirts with Dreamcatchers on it, and they gave me one. And I tried to find it for this podcast, and I can't find it. I've seen it around various places. I don't know what I did with it right now. So anyway, just so you know, I'm a charter member of some part of Dreamcatchers. Well, let's talk a little bit. Let's go back and, well, first of all, let's get to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you. I know you have passionate commitments to family members who have struggled with behavioral health issues.
Absolutely. So, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's an honor and very excited to be here and share about the Dreamcatcher program. So I have been with Dreamcatchers now going on 20 years. In 2025, it'll be 20 years that I have been here. I have a family member with lived experience. I have a sister who lost her vision due to diabetes as a complication when she was 19 years old. So 30 something years now, she has been dealing with the complete loss of her eyesight, and she suffers from severe depression. I am blessed to say, though, that she also gives back. She works for the state. She has become employed, and although she does isolate quite a bit and be able to, still manage through all of that and continue to give her all, she works with others who are visually impaired as a counselor for them. So she is definitely giving back through all the things that she has gone through all the things that she has learned, in essence, as a peer support, to give back to others who are now going through some of those same challenges herself. So definitely a huge supporter of her and the work that she has accomplished, and she's amazing. She lives independently. She's very independent, but she does have her struggles, and she has a great support system to help her as well.
I'm so glad that things have worked out well for her. That's really wonderful. And thank you for being there for her. It's not a surprise that
Yeah.
you would do that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Dreamcatcher started 24 years ago, and you started right about, were you right in there right from the beginning?
So very close to the beginning. So like I said, I've been here almost 20 years. And so Dreamcatchers was still in its first 5 years when I started. So very close to the beginning. We actually started out of Crestwood, Solano. Um, EJ was, the founder of the organization. We are a 501c3, so we are our own standalone nonprofit. Originally connected with Crestwood is how our I'll call them our parent company
Yeah.
as how we got started. Really, the concept behind Dreamcatchers was to be able to provide job skills to the residents while they're receiving their recovery services, so that they had job skills to take with them as they transition back to the community. So that was kind of the core concept of how Dreamcatchers got started. Our name, Dreamcatchers, was actually selected by the clients, helping them to
Oh.
catch their dreams
Mhm.
as that original name for us. So yeah, starting out at Crestwood 24, going on 25 years now.
Yeah, great. Um, do I remember something about a connection with Solano Community College and getting
We
community
did.
college credits even at some point?
Yeah, in between 2006 and 2011, could be 2010, we had a program in Solano County. It was funded by Solano County Behavioral Health, and it was called Neighborhood of Dreams. And part of that program was supported employment and supported education. And so at the community college, we did two things on that college campus. One is that we helped to, I'm going to use the word resurrect their horticulture program.
Oh,
So their
yeah.
horticulture
Okay.
program was really struggling, and so we had individuals that would take, I believe it was 4 different courses of horticulture and receive a certification, a horticulture
Hmm.
certification at the end.
Hmm.
So during that Neighborhood of Dreams program, we brought a van full of people to attend the class, had staff in there supporting them while they were attending class. The other thing that we did was that we were able to get RAP on the college campus. So it was actually offered for 2 semesters on the college campus at
Wow.
Solano Community College
Hmm.
during that time.
Let me just stop you right there. Uh, to our listeners, think about this model. If you have an opportunity to work with a local community college, this
Yeah.
might be something you could replicate. This is a really good model. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Unfortunately, that program did finally diminish funding cuts at the college campus, things
Yeah.
along those lines. But it lasted for several years, even after the program from Solano County ended for Neighborhood of Dreams. The horticulture class did sustain there for a few more semesters before it finally, went away altogether.
Yeah.
But through that, we were able to do some great projects. We redid a playground at the children's playground on the college campus
Hmm.
for their for the parents that are going to school. They have the child care program there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then also in Solano County at the Recology location, they have a visitor center. It's a nature preserve out there, a portion of it. And so we
Ah,
were also able to go out there and have a contract with them to help put native plants in and things like that. The students from the horticulture class were able to do that.
huh. This is such a wonderful model. I hope viewers, I hope you can have an opportunity to do this. Those of you who know me know that I'm an avid gardener, and plants are so healing. They're
Yeah.
just, and dirt. Dirt and plants. If you want to feel better, go get in the dirt and plant it. Uh, well, then things evolved from there. What was the next main? Uh,
Absolutely. So Dreamcatchers, as I mentioned, starting back in 2000, we have been a service provider for the state of California for the Department of Rehab since around that original time. We provided services back in 2001 is when we really got our hands started with Department of Rehab. And we've expanded services. We now serve 8 different counties throughout the state with the State Department of Rehabilitation. We
Mm-hmm.
have several contracts with county behavioral health programs. And again, all along the lines is either supported employment or direct placement assistance. We have a couple contracts with the state and county behavioral health. It's kind of like a triangle agreement. Individuals originate from county behavioral health, connect to Department of Rehab, and then we're the service provider. So it's a very supportive, collaborative approach to delivery of services. Um,
So
and
Crestwood
so
isn't your only client then?
Crestwood is not our only client. No, no. But Crestwood is still one of our clients.
Yeah.
We serve 17 Crestwood campuses across the state of California.
Wow.
So originating just at that very first one, the Solano Our House, we've expanded to 17 of their campuses, offering work experience opportunities to the residents. Again, that original concept of let's build some job skills, let's help people know how to interview, put
Yeah.
together a resume, all of those fundamentals
Mm-hmm.
of what it takes to be an employee or to find a job.
And something that I found out, and it just keeps coming true over and over. So I'm not a scientist or anything, but in my experience, what I see over and over is employment is more therapeutic than counseling and even medication at some points. Having a job does so much for people. It gives us a little structure. I can talk about that with myself, even structure, a sense of purpose, getting paid for doing something says I've got some self-worth. Um, and I remember several programs, one in Sacramento County that we started. I just have this one memory that I'll never forget. And it was growing plants in an old house and then selling them, house plants. And after about a month, everybody got a paycheck. And I mean, the paychecks were like $30 or $60 or something because people didn't work very many hours and it was, I can't remember why, but low. And I just remember walking in with those checks and handing them out and people just crying because they'd never had a paycheck before.
Yeah.
And that was just such a boost to their wellness. It did more than anything else we were doing for them. So
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. I just love it. But let's back up just for the sake of our viewers in case they don't know some of our terminology. Department of Rehab. Let me
Yes.
try to say, I think their mission is to reemploy people who, by some either accident or illness or experience, could no longer work at the job they were doing very well. And then rehab's job is to either support them to get back into that or to give them retraining. They can buy clothes, they can pay for gas, they can, uh, as you say, help create resumes and things like that. Am I kind of on track with that?
You are. So, State Department of Rehab is really open and available for anybody that has a diagnosed disability. And so, as long as there's medical diagnosis, you qualify for DOR services.
Okay.
They can provide education. So, if you're looking to go back to school or to pursue an education that leads to employment, they can help support that education. Exactly what you're saying. If they can no longer do a certain type of work any longer, helping to retrain them or to get them into a different line of work.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then they provide those supports. They provide They can provide, the bus fare or the transportation funds, the clothing allowance, all of those
Mhm.
helpful tools that people need to get those steps forward.
So they're a
Back in
perfect partner for you, aren't they?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
And how many uh, sites do you partner with them on?
So we serve in 8 different counties for the state. So if looking at the geographic, area of the state, we go far north as Butte County and far south as Fresno County
Ah,
for Department of Rehab.
mhm.
Um, Sonoma County to the west, and kind of everything in between there.
Wow. Yeah. Great. What a wonderful partnership. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I know we've asked Donna, who's been through your program, to
Yes.
join us and tell her story. Donna, would this be a good time for you to chime in?
Yes, very good time. I've enjoyed everything that I've heard so far from Regina. So, my story is quite different. Um, I would like to begin by saying my name is Donna Fontenot, and I had served families in the San Francisco community, Bay Area, Hunters Point, for 21 years, social
Hmm.
worker.
Hmm.
And in 2016, I had to retire from that work because of post-traumatic stress, a diagnosis I received, and then made the decision to relocate to Sacramento, where my aged parents lived at that time. And also, I raised my granddaughter. I have granddaughters that I raised. So it was necessary for me to bring everyone together so that I could continue to support in ways I needed to. So after about a year and a half of being under doctor's care and mental health, I was able to move forward in my life. And that process began with the EDD office,
What
referred
office
me
was that?
to EDD office,
EDD.
employment office.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And they referred me to Department of Rehabilitation because I had been a career employee.
Mhm.
I became part of the LEAP program, which for people that have any levels of disability. And from the LEAP program, they acquired they connected me to Dreamcatchers actually. And I got an employment coach. Her name is Deborah.
Yeah.
And so it's, it's so wonderful what Dreamcatchers does. This coach hits so much compassion beyond just helping me to navigate through the State Department processes to get employed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so much support because during all of this time, my husband passed. Well, actually, it was my dad that passed away first in 2017. She was supporting me through that process with
Mhm.
my learning I needed to, acquire. And then in 2019, my husband passed away.
Oh my gosh.
In in COVID time, my mother passed away in 20. So the encouragement, the cheerleading, the
Yeah.
helping with resources, all of that came out of that to help me to get back on my feet in the way that I needed to
Yeah.
be strong again, to be
Yeah.
strong again.
Yeah.
And so I'm very thankful. I'm forever grateful for Dreamcatchers. So I was asked if I would do a testimonial during one of their celebration events, and within that year after that, I was recruited to serve as a board member on
Ah,
Dreamcatcher,
great.
which is so wonderful because I am
Yeah.
so passionate
Yeah.
about this work that they do, helping people with disabilities and people that have had career jobs, and life keeps happening. One of the most amazing things I love about Dreamcatchers is their offer of a hand up,
Yeah.
not so much a hand out, but a hand up,
Yeah.
the strengthening that anyone with disabilities desires to improve their quality of life.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
are empowered to do that. Dreamcatchers is so empowered to do that. That's
Yeah.
my testimony about Dreamcatchers,
Yeah.
and I'm forever grateful.
Well,
And so
thank,
now I continue to share the information about Dreamcatchers and and steer people in the direction of, well, if you want to gain employment, or what would you like to do in your life?
mhm,
It's
mhm.
a very great resource. Yeah, it gives
I,
hope to
I
so
just
many.
love that story. And I just want to, I hope it's okay to say this. You're an older woman like me. I'm probably a lot older than you, and older women have hard times getting jobs. And yet
I'm
here you are,
72.
you're fully
I'm
employed,
72.
72, okay. And
Yes,
you got a job with who are you working for now?
I work for the state of California and
Okay.
the unit at Department of Public Health,
Okay.
and I'm so happy about it. But there's more to the story in that. Um, I also, during this process, was able to go back to school, and I acquired my life coach certification
Ah,
along with the employment.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I'm able to life coach
And
clients.
did Voc Rehab pay for that?
No, that was something I acquired on my own.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had not received that strengthening, the
Yes. Yeah.
strengthening that I need.
Hmm.
So that made it possible for me to do.
Yeah. Well, you're just a very inspiring story. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you
And-
for blessing me to be able to share it so others can
Oh yeah,
hear and know that
happy to have
all
you.
things are possible to them
Yes.
that believe.
Regina, hearing Donna's story, it just inspires me so much. And I want to read this text that I got from another one of your graduates um, in the San Diego program named Douglas. And in fact, there's a podcast with Douglas. He's back like maybe number 10 or 11, someplace back in there, a long time, about a year ago. And he had a lot of heavy duty struggles in trying to recover, just a really big struggle. And I think during that time, people who knew him during that phase would have never thought he could recover to the extent he has. But he did. He got into Crestwood. He got a good doctor. He got a lot of social support. And he went through the peer training, which is not easy. It's like an 80-hour training with 120 or something hour internship. And I remember him calling me once in a while during that. I met him at graduation, so he'd already finished the peer training. And his parents were there. It was just so beautiful. I just cried. Um, and then, so after that, I think he he went to Dreamcatchers and worked with you folks for a while, kind of getting the swing of work, figuring out what it was like to put all those things he learned in the internship into practice, and what it was like to show up for work and all that stuff. So he went through your program, and then Crestwood was so smart to hire him. Yeah. And I think they must have hired him about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 8 months ago or something. I just got a text from him. I want to read it. Okay. I got this just a couple days ago. He says, "How are you doing, Lori? We had our Crestwood San Diego holiday party last night." I'm going to cry a little bit, I think. It was neat to socialize with my coworkers. Today, I booked a trip to France with a friend for June.
Wow.
I'm super excited because I haven't got a chance to travel much. It is amazing how I went from being a resident at Crestwood and a few years later making plans to travel overseas. You know, recovery happens. We just need to create the right atmosphere, environment, supports, and employment opportunities. And it happens. Donna and Douglas are not isolated cases.
No.
Yeah.
And that's really why we do what we do. We know that recovery is possible. And with the right supports in place, I always tell my staff that more often than not, that they are somebody's cheerleader. Just being in their corner, believing in them, helping them walk through that journey, taking the couple steps forward and maybe a couple steps backwards, but being there as a support system. And Donna, Douglas, two of the many that
Yes,
have had their lives changed because of employment.
yes.
Absolutely.
So let's just, and we need to talk about some other mechanical things. Like, I want a little bit more information on the counties and stuff like
Okay.
that. But first of all, let's just walk me through. Let's say I'm in Crestwood as a person, and of course, most of the people in Crestwood are put there on conservatorship. So they don't have any say over being there. And this is not because, I just have to keep saying this. This is not because they failed. And it's not because Crestwood is failing. It's because the community failed these people. The community was not able to provide the right kind of treatment, the right kind of supports for these people to live successfully in the community.
Right.
And they didn't want to be locked up. So, of course, in came the conservator situation, and they took over, basically takes over a person's life.
Yeah.
You can't make any decisions about yourself anymore. And to keep the people safe, they tend to put them in locked places like Crestwood. So here I am. I've had a very disappointing experience in the community. I feel like I failed many times. I feel like a lot of it's my fault. I mean, in fact, people kind of led me to believe that. I've been on all kinds of medications. Some of it hurt me, some of it helped me. So I come into Crestwood. I'm just I'm fragile, and I don't have much confidence. I don't know who I can trust, and I don't really trust myself that much even. But after a little while, being in a safe place, having 3 meals a day, some Crestwoods have some good programs that I could go to, some groups. And I get strong enough that I can take the peer employment training class. And like I said before, that's not easy. It's 80 hours of classroom, 120 hours of internship. But, you know, here, I just want to say this about Crestwood. Crestwood actually pays, I think, $17 an hour to people during their internship. Is that right? 17, 16?
Well, it is not now. It was minimum wage, $16 an hour. But now, because of the healthcare minimum wage in the state of California just went up, all of those individuals who are dream catchers in the campuses or their interns are earning $21 an hour now.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Of course, the problem is they can't work as many hours or they screw up their Social Security check.
So yes, that is still a barrier because the federal Social Security limits have not changed whatsoever. So yes, if they're on SSI, which many of our individuals are, there are some parameters around that. We do have some case managers, payees, conservators who have allowed the individuals to continue working what they were working before that minimum wage change, which has been wonderful. And then, you know, they'll just deal with the reduction of Social Security on the backside of it. Whereas some have, you know, unfortunately had to have people reduce their hours. So it is definitely an educational moment for them.
However, I could be wrong here, so correct me. Let's say I can work 10 hours a month or a week, a month, and not jeopardize my Social Security.
So it's not, unfortunately, it's $85 in earnings.
A month?
A month. It is.
So I could really maybe only work 3 or 4 hours a
4
month.
hours. Exactly. Yeah.
However, if I work 20 hours, I still get my Social Security. I just get less of it.
Correct. But now you're also earning a paycheck. So it, you know,
yes.
In actuality, people are earning a paycheck than the Social Security amount.
Yes.
And definitely, like I said, it's that education component of it, because there's the fear around, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my benefits. However, yes, that cash portion is going away. The medical portion of Social Security benefits generally does never go away, but now you're earning a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so the dollar amount that someone is earning is sometimes more than what they would have been on solely with Social Security.
Yeah. And I think people, I wanted to talk about this because I think people don't know this. They think if they get past their $80 or whatever it is, that they're just, they're in big trouble. Yeah. But they still make more money.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so I just finished my peer training. I know not everybody goes through peer training, but just for this, I go through peer training. I finished my internship, and I'm not quite confident enough to go to work yet. This is where you pick me up, right?
So a lot of times those individuals have been enrolled in the Dreamcatcher program prior to participating in the peer employment.
Yeah.
Sometimes not, but what we have done is we've kind of shifted their role once they've done the peer employment. So maybe before they were helping with housekeeping, let's just say, now they're actually in a peer support role as their Dreamcatcher job. So we've shifted their job now that they've completed that training, but it's done with a mentor, a vocational coach. So each of the Crestwood campuses have a vocational coordinator on the campus that supports the Dreamcatcher program. So again, that support system in place. And so having a mentor through the peer support learning program, those mentors continue to exist as well. And so having that wraparound service as this person is now learning to be an employee in peer support, still under the Dreamcatchers umbrella, but now providing peer support services to their colleagues, the others at the campus.
Right. Yes. And I mentioned Douglas, but he's just one of. I think the San Diego campus has hired maybe
quite a few,
14 peers who are full-time or close to full-time. It's just a wonderful testament, like Douglas said, to go from, being a resident on conservatorship to becoming an employee.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we have seen that happen at several of the Crestwood campuses that Dreamcatchers is part of individuals, exactly what you're saying. I've been a resident here. I've received my recovery service, treatment services. I've been a Dreamcatchers through the program. I'm now discharged back into the community. I'm no longer a resident, but now I have the opportunity to become hired and give back to what I just went through. We have seen that time and time again at several of the Crestwood campuses of individuals who have have taken those that step forward,
Yeah.
participating in peer support, some of them getting the state certification in peer support.
Yes, yes.
Very, exciting opportunities. And who's to say Crestwood could just be a stepping stone for them, and now they're looking to be hired somewhere else in the community using
Oh,
that peer
yes,
support certification.
some of them have gotten
Yeah.
employed other places. So
Absolutely.
I love it. Yeah. Oh. I was thinking it might be interesting to talk a little bit about some of the counties you're in and how that
Absolutely.
works.
Yeah. So I'll start with Fresno County. So we've had a contract in Fresno County with their Fresno County Department of Behavioral Health for 4 years now. That particular program is delivering services under the IPS model. So IPS stands for Individual Placement and Support. It's an evidence-based practice that's well known across the United States and internationally. As an evidence-based practice for people with serious mental illness. And so we provide employment services, and that particular model is really focused on a lot of rapid engagement of people. When people are interested, tap into that immediately. But it's the same things that we're describing. It's the lot of supports, the steps forward, the steps backwards, the resume building. Our team goes out, talks to employers on behalf of the individual if they give us that consent to do so. And so in Fresno County, all of the individuals that we work with are recipients of behavioral health services. We also have a contract with the State Department of Rehabilitation there as well. Again, tying to behavioral health services, so it is considered a mental health contract with the state. Where Fresno County is buying in to support that program as well.
It's like a three-way partnership then. It's
absolutely it is.
Dreamcatchers, the county and vocational rehabilitation.
Yep,
absolutely. Wow, I love it when people work together.
Makes it so much easier. We have something very similar to that also up in Butte County. So Dreamcatchers has a contract with Butte County Behavioral Health. We do a 9-month paid supported employment work experience for individuals. We have a plethora of community-based work sites where we have employers that are willing to work with us and allow individuals to come in and practice work, I'll just say. Job coaches are there working side by side with them, really teaching them how to be an employee in a supported environment. And then those individuals, the goal is for them to enroll with the State Department of Rehabilitation for then community-based employment services. So it's a stepping stone program. It goes in from a supported 9-month work experience to now let's find that community-based employment. So Dreamcatchers has a contract with the county for the stepping stone, and then we have a contract with the State Department of Rehabilitation to kind of do that full wraparound services with the individual in Butte County.
How many people that go through Dreamcatchers would you say have never had any point, maybe no employment to maybe no successful employment?
Most people that we work with have had employment at some point in time. I would say it's a very small percentage that they're going through voc rehab or through the county, and this would be their first employment. Probably maybe like 10% of those that we work with have never had any form of employment.
Well, then how many would you say have had no successful employment?
Oh, well, that's a different question. And the reason why I say that is Dreamcatchers, especially for the state, we are one of the very few agencies that will work with anybody, regardless of backgrounds, regardless of diagnosis. So we often also are the agency that takes individuals that have not been successful with other providers. So that number of people coming to us is a higher number of people who have not had employment success.
What would you say, 30%, 50%, 70%?
So That's a good question. Maybe 30%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. 30 plus the 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 40% of your clientele are, you're not creaming.
No.
They're,
Oh gosh, no. No, absolutely not. Yeah.
you've got the real challenging situations to deal with. And you're probably undoing a lot of what people learned in previous employment experience.
That sometimes our employment specialists do run up against some of those challenges for sure.
Mhm. So you've got Fresno, you've got Butte,
So we
something
also
else.
have we have another contract in Sonoma County, and it is again that three-way contract. All of the individuals are referred from Sonoma County Behavioral Health to Department of Rehab. Department of Rehab then refers them to us as the direct, hands and feet on the ground service provider.
Yeah.
And so again, it's that really collaborative service. So we have essentially those three mental health county state contracts that we provide, as a collaborative effort between County Behavioral Health and Department of Rehab Services.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. But do you have anything in San Diego?
We do not. We are not in San Diego County. So again, we only go as far as Fresno. However, we've been having some recent conversations with the state, the state, only because of the PELC has been very successful in San Diego. There's been, I think they're on round 5 of their PELC down there. And so really trying to connect people into supportive services for community placement. And so we've been having some conversations around that of how can we make that happen? Does Dreamcatchers want to be a provider to make that happen across the state? So we've been having some conversations around that.
I certainly hope that happens. I mean, just for the viewers again, PELC is the peer employment training. And so, as Regina's saying, the San Diego campus has trained 5 cohorts of people in that training. And they've let's say graduate, that people have graduated from 5 cohorts and then gone on to work with Regina. And then are available for employment. It's not hard to get a person employed as a peer support specialist because of the workforce shortage in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So I would think vocational rehabilitation would see that this is a population that they could easily count as a success on their end of things.
Absolutely. We're doing a pilot right now because Pleasant Hill, Contra Costa County is it's going through their PELC, and we have Department of Rehab tied into that supportive process right now. So we're kind of doing this pilot with them currently at this moment with the individuals who have just finished their 80 hours and are now starting their internship. So DOR is tied in there from the very beginning. And so, yes, we're looking at statistics, outcomes, participation, placement numbers, all of that. So very excited to pilot it with Department of Rehab to hopefully roll it out across the statewide, that every peer support training that Crestwood does that has the Dreamcatcher component tied to it, which it currently does, but now we're tying DOR into it for that community.
That would be fantastic. I so hope that happens. That would just be a win-win for everybody.
Well, we're off to a great start. I'll say that. So,
okay, great. How many people are graduated in Pleasant Hill and are in the internship? Do you know?
So they're in internship now. They we have 10 people that we are working with. They had 11, but one of them decided after the 80 hours and I don't know why, but decided that they didn't want to continue on. The hard part was done, the 80 hours.
I
know. So there was 11 going through that, and 10 have moved to the next step and are in the middle of internship now.
Yeah, great. Great.
And
Oh,
and uh, I've met with each and every one of them, and they are very excited. I met with them all actually last week. Last week was their very first week of internship.
uh,
Very excited. They wanted to share about their groups that they're leading at the
oh yeah,
campus,
yeah.
and excited to take the exam to become employed. So yeah, off to a great start there.
That's so exciting. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have forgotten to ask you about Pleasant Hill
Yeah,
because I didn't think you had a contract there. But
we
great.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, where do you see Dreamcatchers going in the future? If you could make
Absolutely.
up the future for Dreamcatchers, what would it look like?
So, as a nonprofit and any nonprofit, unfortunately, we have to deliver services that are feasible to us. And so that's the hardest part of a nonprofit. And so we trying to build those relationships with county partners, like this pilot program that we're doing right now with peer support and having the conversations at the state level to, is this something that we can replicate? Those bigger things of that to serve more people, but to also give people not just necessarily replacing people in a job, but giving people that career in
Yes, yeah.
that career trajectory. So Dreamcatchers is always looking to expand our services, to serve more, to support more individuals. So magic wand is funding from the state level down to the county partners to be able to provide services. Employment is vital, like you spoke about earlier, vital to recovery. I mean,
Mhm.
um, and so we want to be able to provide more and expand more, whether that's through DOR, whether that's through a contract. One of the things that I have the blessed opportunity to do is to present on employment at conferences across the nation.
Mhm.
And so tapping into, can our services be replicated in another state somewhere, and doing some consulting services. So anything that we can do to help bring awareness about employment and people in recovery and work is possible and all of those things, whether it's just here within our vicinity of the state of California or spreading it out across the nation, and how can we help somebody else implement what we do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's a wonderful dream. I love it. I'm going to dream it with you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else you want to say before we call it quits here today?
So I just want to share one last final thought, and that really is, you gave, Donna shared, Douglas shared. So me as the executive director, it's one thing for me to be able to I'm going to say be on the front lines to hear those testimonies. And one of the things that Dreamcatchers does is we do a recognition event every single year to really honor and recognize all of the individuals that we've worked with and have become hired. And so attendees of that are family members of the individuals we serve, our county officials, state officials, and the feedback that we get from just anybody that we have worked with is the appreciation and support. And even Donna just mentioned it herself, of that hand up, not a
Yeah,
handout, but
yeah.
really that support. And it's funny, and I don't really, not funny, but when people come to that event, it allows you to kind of take a step back from the day-to-day stuff that you get kind of sucked into,
Mhm.
and really remember of, this is why I do what I do. Here
Yeah.
is this story of this life that has changed
Mhm.
by our staff, that is just speaking life into somebody else, that is supporting them and encouraging them.
Mhm.
And that's the feedback that we get, is like, oh my gosh, thank you for allowing this to happen, because
Yeah.
we get kind of sucked into that day-to-day stuff. and
Mhm.
and so stepping back and saying, this is why we do what we do. We're changing lives through employment.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, it's been just a pleasure spending a little time with you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to share all this about Dreamcatchers with our viewers. I know,
Thank you for
I mean, I learn every time I talk with you about it. So I know there's people out there who don't know that much about it. So Thank you so much, Regina, and thanks for all that you do.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and we're here to serve and, to keep changing lives. So thank you for allowing me to share about the great work that we do.
Thank you. Well, there you have it. That's the Dreamcatchers program. A wonderful model. I just hope this model will be emulated around the world. So people who have struggled with disabilities, particularly behavioral health disabilities, will have a chance to re-enter the workforce in a meaningful way, in jobs that really use their gifts and strengths to the maximum capacity. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll have Regina's contact information available if you want to contact her. And we'll also have a written complimentary narrative that goes with this that gives you even more information. So again, thanks very much. See you next time.